What's happening, everybody? Today we are creating custom worship backgrounds for your worship experiences in After Effects. Let's do it. What's happening, everybody? I'm Sam DeZeo, and this is smartdesign.church, where we help churches communicate the timeless gospel in the 21st century by helping make church media simple. And if you make church media of any kind, whether print, digital, whatever, I invite you to subscribe because we have a new video out every single week and you don't want to miss it. Today we're diving into After Effects and creating custom worship backgrounds. So let's go ahead and dive on in. The first thing you want to do is create the shapes of the stained glass window, and I just used this picture for reference and started making shapes with the pen tool, making sure that every shape I create is all on one single shape layer. And to do this, you just keep that layer selected as you continue making those shapes. This is going to be very important later, so make sure to do this. Once I have the basic window shape, I want to make another 1920 by 1080 composition that's going to be kind of our color effects inside this shape. And a quick way to get a bunch of different blending colors together inside a composition is just to add a 4-color gradient effect onto a new solid. Right off the bat, these are extremely bright and bold colors that don't really work well together at all. So let's go ahead and create a little nicer color scheme for this effect. Personally, I really like this warm look with just a hint of purple added in. Once we picked out our colors, we can jump back into our main composition, the one with the shape layer, and we can scale up that window and position it into the place that we want it. Next, we can drop in our new color effects composition below our shape layer. Then, at the bottom of the screen, under your track matte, set the track matte of your color effects layer to alpha matte. This will create kind of a cutout of that color composition using that window shape. Now, this is looking great and all, but this is all about adding that pixel effect, right? Well, before we jump into that, I want to invite you to check out the course, the After Effects Roadmap for Churches. There's a ton of great tutorials on YouTube for After Effects, and I don't think that's any secret. But the problem with most of those tutorials is they don't have your ministry in mind, or they teach you just a small little portion of After Effects, so then you're left to stick everything together, piece everything together, and try to figure out this program for yourself. But that is how the After Effects roadmap is different. You'll be able to level up your social media posts, your on-screen backgrounds, your countdowns, your announcements, your sermon series bumpers, or really anything else that you can think of. We've got so much to learn in the After Effects roadmap, so if you want to sign up for that, go ahead and click that link up in the card on your screen, or you can click that link down in the description below. So, to add that pixelated effect, we want to add a new adjustment layer and drop the effect called CC Ball Action on that layer. Immediately, we get what sort of looks like a pixelated image, but there's a lot of tweaks that need to be made here, especially because what you just generated using this effect isn't even pixels at all. It's small little balls here, hence the name CC Ball Action. So let's increase the pixel size by increasing the grid spacing to 14 and the ball size to 84. And this is looking good so far, but I want to add a little bit more variety in the pixels because right now it's just a little bit too perfect of a gradient in between these colors, and I don't know, it's just too perfect. Let's add some variety. So back in the color effects composition, we'll add what's called a turbulent noise on a new solid, and we'll call it noise. So to get rid of the black and just deal with the whites in this layer, we want to go to the blending modes and set it to screen, and that way we're left with just the white elements. So for the sake of just mixing things up and getting an interesting look, I'm just going to set the fractal type to smeary. And then we can play with the contrast and the brightness and begin to get much more defined shapes within these whites. And if we play with the evolution slider, those shapes start to evolve. So we want this movement lasting throughout the whole animation, so to quickly do this, I'm just going to alt-click on that stopwatch and type time times 30. And I just picked 30 as an arbitrary number, knowing that the higher that number, the faster that evolution animation is going to happen. So next, basically, I'm just going to duplicate this layer. That way I can add another noise layer. And we want this one to just be a slightly different color. But one thing to note is that these two layers have the exact same evolution settings, so the shapes it's forming are going to be identical. So to fix this, we just need to go into the settings and type plus 200 to offset that animation by 200 degrees, so that way they're not identical. This way they have the exact same speed of animation because that 30 is still staying the same, but we're just offsetting it by 200 degrees. Then we'll add a tint effect to change the white color to like a bright orangish yellowish color. So now we can see what this cool animation looks like. But more importantly, in our pixelated composition, we can now see some of the variety in those pixels, making this so much more interesting. It kind of gets rid of that perfectness of it and just kind of adds some variety, which I think is really cool. And this is looking pretty cool, but I want to add a background to complement our window look. So adding a new solid, and I'll just copy and paste the 4-color gradient that we made earlier onto this layer, and I'll make another dark gray solid under that layer, and then set the color background layer to multiply. And this is gonna give a subtle color look in the background. And this background will also serve another purpose. It'll make these pixels look less like balls and more like squared off pixels, giving it more of a pixelated effect. So it really serves two purposes. Now this does in fact look like pixels, but what we're not seeing is like the illumination that you would think pixels should be giving off, because they give off light, right? So to fix that, we're just gonna add a glow effect to that adjustment layer on top of everything and tweak the threshold, the brightness, and the intensity settings until you find something that's really subtle and not too harsh, but still giving that glow effect. If you are looking to learn more of After Effects, go ahead and click this video right here. It's a whole playlist that we put together for you that's really going to teach you the different techniques that you can use in After Effects for your church and for your ministry, and ultimately spreading the name of Jesus. I can't wait to see you in those videos.